There's times in my life where I wish I had two things. Two of me, and that's about fucking it, because Jesus Christ, like, doing this shit back and forth is a little annoying sometimes. Allow me to fix my closet door really quickly. And how about no moose knuckles today, right? Last episode, I feel like that was all up in the grills. Last episode, I think that I vented about a bunch of random ass shit again. I'm not too vivid on what I talked about, but I'm not too vivid. I've had a long fucking day today, man. Oh my god. Holy shit. I'm not gonna use this time to vent about it, but I am gonna use this time as an opportunity to introduce the fucking show today. I'm tired as hell. It's Sunday. On Sundays, I like to just be home all day and relax. I did not get that today, so I'm gonna be in a bit of a snappy little mood, a snappy little have me a little attitude like a baby. Um, so yeah, this is episode 8, and I should probably like have more of an approach on what I'm gonna talk about, but I never really do. I'm never really good at like saying, "Hey, I'm gonna talk about this." And I'm gonna only talk about this for the entire podcast. I am terrible at that shit. Like I said, I am a producer who is acting as a host so that he can understand his settings. Today, I learned a lesson that I don't know shit about audio. I don't know a goddamn. I don't know how to correct audio. I don't know how to edit. I could chop up some audio, but I've had the same audio equipment for at least fucking 2 years now. It's just my little PreSonus interface with four inputs and outputs, some knobs and four buttons. And some fucking how, some way, I still find a way to to fuck shit up. So the issue today, before the show started, was that my audition file was recording 4 tracks of audio from the same microphone. Like, why the fuck would I would understand if I needed to record 4 tracks of audio to different stereos or speakers, right? But when the fuck would I have to do that for a podcast? So as I was doing it, I was like, I wish there was a better way for me to show you guys. Well, I guess I could show you guys. How would I be able to do this wisely without? I can't. I'm not even gonna attempt it. So, you guys are probably familiar with audio tracks and wave files, and like that spectrum when you can see your wavelength, like your how when you talk you see just a bunch of these going up and down. Um, in my eyes, those are called. In my head, those are called audio tracks, waveforms. Um, there should literally only be one audio track recording right now, and I should be able to hear them through both ears, the left and the right, if that's how stereo works. You see, I could have it backwards, and that's how mono works the whole time, and I've just been running stereo this entire time. But let me just tell you this right now: I have no fucking clue what the difference between mono and stereo is, and the fact that I am a podcaster and I should know these things and I don't kind of pisses me the fuck off. Um, because my audio experience mainly is plug that shit in and get that fucking microphone hot. Make sure every person has their own audio track basically. So that took me back to learning the difference between Windows and Mac, and that Mac has better audio settings, I guess. I had to download an external ACO driver that I had no fucking clue about. In order for OBS to use it properly, I had to download a plugin and install it into OBS so the ACO driver could be picked up on OBS. And then on my Adobe Audition, I had to download a universal remote control that included, luckily, ACO driver that I was able to use as an option for Adobe Audition. And what this ACO driver allowed me to do was record multiple tracks of audio at the same fucking time, which my Mac was already doing that. It just had shitty processing. So if I wanted to stream and rely on my MacBook for the processing, I was fucked. So I learned that the ACO driver allows Windows machines to record multiple tracks of audio at the same time. But the reason that I didn't know about it before was because I was so used to only doing one track of audio at one, just me doing tutorials. So it's kind of fucking weird that Windows does that, but then it brings me back to that fucking that Apple commercial where basically they were talking about how Windows was all extra and complicated and how at Mac it's very simple. It's a very simplified. I'm gonna look up Mac commercial Windows. Oh, Mac versus Windows commercial. Here it is. These guys. This guy right here.
iMovie, iPhoto, iWeb, because they all work like iTunes. You know, iLife comes on every Mac.
iLife. Well, I have some very cool apps that are bundled with me.
Oh, like what do you got? Calculator. That's cool. Anything else?
Clock. A clock.
Sounds like.
Let me see if I can find a good one.
Who's
Nope.
to Planet? Apparently, you're the finest desktop PC on
Here we
the
go.
market at any price. Very nice.
Just one man's opinion.
I actually got a great review this morning too.
Oh,
They said I
congratulations.
was awesome,
Good for you.
and so we're the same.
Yeah,
It's the same.
what was that in?
The awesome computer review weekly journal.
Hello, on my Mac.
So this was like probably like early 2000s, like 2009ish. That wasn't even the commercial I was referring to, but that was the backdrop. So basically how it worked was there was a guy talking, and as he talked it was just so like, what is this guy even talking about? You know, it was so annoying and extra, and like all you had to be like super duper educated to understand what he was talking about, which was the point of Windows. It was saying how extra and complicated Windows operating systems can be, and how they don't need to be that, how computers don't have to be that difficult basically. So what Apple did was basically dumb everything down and make things easier to use, and that just became their gold. They thought to themselves, we are just going to make all this shit easy for people to use. And then I think that's exactly how they won like the iPhone battle, the phone battle, you know, like the phone of the like the main phone thing, like when you think of computers, you think of Windows, and sometimes you think of Mac. But when you think of a computer, you think of a tower in your mom's house when you were 6 that you had to turn on with your pinky toe or your big toe, however you were feeling that day. I think everybody who knows what a computer is thinks of Windows. That's my guess. And with phones you think of iPhone. And I think, like I said before, I think the reason they win that is because they said, yeah, all that other shit, yep, fuck all that. You just need this, you just need a few of this, and this, and it needs to all be in front of you, and it needs to be easy to access, and it needs to be easy to use. And that's basically it. They just simplified technology for us and made it easy for an old person to look at and be like, yeah, that doesn't look too complicated. Because remember, we were going from flip phones and sliders to touchscreen. So I don't really know where the trial and error comes from right there, because I was too young to understand it. But I just remember back then there were some phones that were touchscreen that weren't fully optimized with like Android OS. So you couldn't really play like, you know, Jetpack Joyride, Fruit Ninja. Those weren't really popular yet. You still had your Tetris, and like there was like a little slider block game that you could play. These games weren't really addictive yet. You could still play Snake and shit, but Flow Free wasn't even a thought. It wasn't even a thought yet. I think it wasn't until like the iPhone 2 or 3 when touchscreen phones really were like, oh, whoa, this is everyday thing that everybody has a touchscreen phone at this point. So if you pull out your little slider, broke nigga over here. The sliders were the Androids at one point. Like when you see Android now, it's the meme. Oh, broke motherfucker right there with an Android. But back then it was flip phones and shit. So it's crazy to see that change. But like I said, I think this ACO driver situation for me is like the main reason why I fucking hate Windows sometimes. It's complicated, but at the end of the day, it's just a different operating system. And sometimes we don't like the operating systems that we're fucking given. Unfortunately, I'm in the position right now where I'm like, fuck Windows, because sometimes I just feel like things are complicated for no reason. But then that also teaches me I don't know enough about what the fuck I'm doing in order to understand why the problem keeps happening and why I can't get the same results every single time. So I guess it's more on me than it is the actual technology, right? Basically, this is just me explaining the fact that I need to up my experience with audio software so that I don't face these problems a lot. But other than that, today was a day. Yeah, fucking woke up with a violation sticker on my goddamn car. So now I got to get that taken care of early in the morning and the next day before they decide to tow my car. So that's fucking fun. As I was driving it to my brother's house today, I was like, because my car makes this loud ass rattling noise. If you've driven in the Musty, you know the drill. It just for like 3 minutes straight, bro. Like Perry the Platypus, but like Hulk version of Perry the Platypus. That shit's fucking annoying. But every time that noise happens, I'm like, it's just a subtle humbler, like just a quick humble. You're like, yeah, I'm a broke nigga, bro, because I can't even get that shit fixed. Like, you just got done bragging about how much money you got the other day, and then your car's like, sir, I'm struggling over here, and your pockets are getting a little deeper. And then it just starts. Yeah, this shit today was. I'm just glad I got to spend time with family. Honest to God, that's really all that. That's the joy that I had today. Got to see my mama, got to see my nieces and nephews, got to see my cousins and shit. But it was pretty cool. This is my Vegas family, and I love it. All right, time to get into the real shit. But like again, I have no fucking thing to talk about. Really, all I do on these podcasts for the first 10 minutes is I look at my fucking screen and I'm like, okay. Like if I had another me right here, I'm just looking at it like, wow. So yeah, this is what I would be seeing if I was mixing and recording and shit like that. Ah, man, life is strange. I would say that much. Smoke break though. Parents like, do you think he's a good influence? Bitch, I think I'm a great influence. I'm gonna hit this wheel. I'm gonna hit this waxy real quickly though, ho. Yeah, do drugs, kids. Don't do them. You know. Sometimes I just like think I'm the funniest motherfucker on this planet, and then I'm not. I wish that I didn't go full screen on my goddamn monitor right here though, so that I could see if I have any viewers. But you know what time it is now. We have to make sure the stream's popping up accurately, so that the people who are watching me, even though there's nobody watching me, which would be fucking nuts if there's somebody, if there was, which it always just ends up being me half the time. I wish that I didn't go full screen on my goddamn. It's weird doing this. So that I could see if I have any viewers, but you know what time it is now. We have to make sure the stream's popping up accurately, so that the people who are watching me, even though there's nobody watching me, which would be fucking nuts if there's somebody, if there was, which it always just ends up being me half the time. It's weird doing this. Yeah, I rock with it. Doesn't look terrible right now. Audio's coming in clearly. Uh, yeah, I'm glad that I don't just upload the podcasts. I cut them up first because there's just a bunch of dead space now. But yeah, I mean, the only thing I fucking hate is that I'm not good at set decoration. So like I'm blending in with my fucking couch right now and my microphone. So you don't even know. It just looks like there's this block in front of me that I'm talking in front of, and I'm not good with lighting, obviously. So that's the cool thing, is that I don't even know what the fuck, like in this in what I do. I don't even know what I'm good at, bro. This is this is what makes me fear quitting my job or anything like that, like jumping back into different fields, because you're like, well, what am I even skilled at? What can I say? Like people go to college and they get the degrees, they can say that they're good at that one thing. You do hair, you do nails, you can say that you're good at that one thing. I've done a few music videos. I've made a few interviews. I've done a lot of fucking podcasting, so I know how to get a podcast on Bracken. Um, One thing I am fucking amazing at is talking about absolutely nothing and making it sound like it's fucking something. Shit. That's what I do know, baby. And that I know how to talk into a fucking microphone. That's what I know. Uh, Yeah, I just am a guy who got money and said, I'm going to buy all the things that I wanted when I was a kid. Everybody wanted toys and cars. I always wanted, for some reason, production equipment, microphones especially. Cameras were next, lighting equipment. I didn't know you could like build PCs until I was 16, and then I was like, nigga, I'm gonna build my own PC. What the fuck? And I just never. There's this thing that happens every time it's time for me to make like an important decision. Like I won't just like like an impulsive decision. So when I bought my gimbal that I never use, I bought that impulsively because I had the money and I just got a fucking credit increase. So I was like, time to go decrease that credit real quickly. And then I bought what did I buy after that? I don't even. Oh, I bought the interface, and I bought the I bought podcast equipment shortly after, like a week later. I got my interface that I got a recorder, which I'm glad I ended up not doing. At the same time, I'm not sure. Kind of wish I got a soundboard because it costs just as much and does way more. But at the same time, it's all like analog in your hand. So everything I can do on a soundboard, I can do on OBS and even Riverside. So it's like it kind of has its flaws. It kind of it kind of doesn't. But at the end of the day, all I knew I needed at that time was 4 inputs so that I could always have multiple guests. Or I could always have at least 4 guests. Then after that, I remember those were both impulsive decisions. I didn't even have to do it. I had my Blue Yeti, those little snowball mics. Those things, that thing was just connected. I connected it to my iPad and I connected it to my computer, and I never actually sat down and practiced my skill, my craft, editing, audio engineering. I never actually sat down and focused on the creative part. I only ever fucking thought about how it looked, So like I have to have quality content. I can't just put out no shit from my phone, which kind of pisses me off now that I think about it because I definitely could have had I looked in the right places, but you can't look into the right places if you don't have the experience because you don't know where those places are, right? I guess the best way to explain it is you don't know how many doors are in a house until you've been through it, until you walked through it, been upstairs, been downstairs, and you still might be wrong because you haven't thoroughly looked in it. You could look at the house, you could look in front of the house. Yeah, you could look at the front of the house, and you could look at the back of the house, and you could look at the side of the house, and you could look at the other side of the house. You could look at all 4 sides of the house. You'll only see the doors that go from inside to outside. You won't know how many doors go inside of the fucking shelf, you know what I mean? You don't know until you get in there. So, what did that just remind me of? I think I was watching either an SNL skit or it was something that my brother was it a TikTok? It was fuck, what the fuck was it? Where the guy said something. It was Everybody Hates Chris. It was Julius. When the whole family got sick, Chris had to go stay with the dude Otis upstairs or some shit, the little pimp dude who always had the glasses on but definitely looked very shady. Julius said the boy stuck his hand in the fan and you cut his whole arm off. And then Rochelle, everybody was like, what the fuck? Like, not in no, like, what did he just say? More like, wait, what is he trying to imply? Like, what is he trying to get at? What's the analogy? Like, what's the metaphor? And then this shit do look a little fuzzy. Weird. So, you had Tanya, Drew, Chris, all like, I think it meant this. Oh, no, I think it meant this. And then you have Rochelle like, what the fuck? What, bro? And then he was like, you can't, like, punish him that brutally for making that tiny mistake. He already cut his finger. There's his owie. There's his lesson. You don't have to cut his whole arm off now. In this case, Chris felt some type of way, talked back to Rochelle, and she said, well, if you want to do things your way, and you're making all this money now, I guess you don't have to live here no more. And then he was like, all right, bitch, the fuck? Deuces. And then she was like, shit. All right, nigga, get the fuck out then. And then he was like, all right, bet. And then they had that little cute moment. I think it reminded me of, or Straight Outta Compton reminded me of this episode, because when Dr. Dre got kicked out. That's exactly how they responded. Like Drew Tanya, in this case, it was Dre's little brother. Just went out there. He's like, bro, you really leaving, man? You don't gotta do this. Don't be stupid, bro. Mom, man, I gotta hold my ground on this one, man. You know, mom, man. I gotta go be a man now. You got this. You take this, kid. This is your crib. You the man now. All right, do you, big bro? Anyway, so that is what I am very notorious for, is making those analogies. But I had a better point than that, bro. I know I brought up the Julius thing for some fucking reason. You know what's the most annoying thing ever is when I do that. Hold on. Now I gotta. Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. I almost got it. Nope. We're almost there. See, I'm getting smarter with this shit. Yep. 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 Yes, sir. Quality content is the shit. Yep. Mm-hmm. There it is. I used the metaphor of the houses. Damn, why didn't I do that on my last podcasts, bro? What the fuck is wrong with me? So basically what I was saying was I can't just you don't know what questions to ask, where to look, what to do. You don't know where you'll be. Like, you know what I mean? So you don't know when the fuck. I never knew when I would needed to learn how to map my audio. You know what I mean? Back then when it was just a USB mic, all I had to do was get the fucking USB and plug it in and hit record because it instantly synced up. Or maybe if it was my computer, I had to switch the output, you know? And even then, that's still a little bit of a new thing, switching an output on your device. You're like, what the fuck? Back then, you just plugged that shit in and you listened to whatever you said. You know what I mean? Or at least that's how it was with the iPad. A lot less button clicking. So, then when I expanded my equipment, like I said, I always thought ahead. I always wanted to get scalable shit, and then I bought the A10 Mini. And then you try to go about it in a scalable way, and then budget gets in the way, and then you try to take the cheapest route, and sometimes the cheapest route ends up being the cheapest fucking route. If you're looking at A10s, do not buy the Mini. I'll rock with the Pro. Should be your beginner, but definitely look at the ISOs. Video editors will love you, producers will love you, and you'll always have a device that you can use. Small venues, big venues, you can always rely on the ISOs. Like in my eyes, the isolated recordings are the like the most versatile ones. Like the cheapest ISO you can get is better than the most expensive Mini. You know what I mean? Just get the ISO Pro. You want something that has a machine in it dedicated to the processing power that it's gonna need, right? Because it needs to encode and decode and transcode, or I don't even know if it's transcoding, but it basically needs to collect all the video data that it's getting, convert it into your computer. So now by the time it gets to your computer, the question that your computer is going to answer or is not going to answer is going to be, how much processing power do I need? If your switcher's handling it, then you don't need that much processing power. If your computer has to do it, then your computer needs a lot of processing power. And if it's already running applications that are processor power heavy, that take up a lot of processing power, then you're overloading your CPU. And that's what I was doing to my Mac. So that's the thing that I learned from having this type of technology, these type of devices, is that the more they cost, the more processing power is gonna factor in. Now, audio, I don't think that's the same exact thing, but then again, audio can get very fucking heavy sometimes, like depending on the filters you put in there, you know, what type of add-ons you add. There's a lot that can go into a single audio file, bro. Like, it could be a long-ass audio file with a lot of effects in it. So, you know, it kind of varies. But, like I said, I wouldn't have known half of those things if I didn't actually like buy these and be put in situations where I had to use these things outside of my element. I started off by recording with an iPhone 6 editing off of an iPad Pro, and then I kind of got this Windows laptop that my brother had that had a little bit of better RAM, because I for some reason thought RAM was the answer to process to like better graphics and shit and better processing power. I had the notebook with the touchscreen, and it was still like an office computer. I wanted a MacBook initially when I first got any type of device, but I got an iPad Pro, so I just started video editing off of that, and then that ended up being my go-to. So then I ended up getting this camera that I'm recording off of right now. I learned the fuck out the camera. Although I can't take the best pictures with it still. I know how to bring the best out of it if I have certain equipment. Like if I have better lights, I'll get the best out of this camera. In sunlight, this thing is just fucking sick. But action shots, music videos, I'm fucking lying. You can do a lot with this camera. And I have done a lot with this camera, but I've always had the intention of using it for what I do right now. Eventually, this thing's probably just going to be attached on top of a monitor and used as my webcam if I even go that far. Or it might even just be a backup camera, because eventually I'm going to want like studio cameras, obviously. But the cool thing is that working with these devices can get you experience, which builds your resume. So like I doubt if I ever had my audio, if I didn't have my audio interface, when was I ever going to color correct? I mean, when was I ever going to shoot high quality content? So, like I said, the first time I did my interview, I did that shit with the Blue Yeti. The second time, I had my hands on high-end equipment. I think the dude said we were recording off of like a $700 mic. Remember that shit fucking vividly. My boy JJ slid with me. Which I don't even know why he did. He just rolled with a youngin'. Like, I was like, you want to go? He was like, hell yeah. I was like, my youngin'. That's when I had just moved out, man. That's my boy. Things are not the same anymore. My man's a whole dad now. Every time I talk on this podcast, I reminisce on that shit. But that's my dog. So when he went with me, I just had this setup right here, this tripod, this camera, these two lights right here, and my USB mic, and I was gonna plop that bitch on a fucking table in front of bro and just let him talk, because I was like, shit, I got audio. And then bro looked at me like, I am not talking into a USB microphone when I record out of a microphone's 10 times the price. And that's exactly what happened. He pulled out the $700 boom mic right over his head. The homie Chris was like, the dude that I just met that day, shout out to Chris. Chris gave me a lot of confidence for what I do right now. Or for what I was even doing at that time. You can't find people like Chris. That's like a teacher. Like a dude straight gave me teacher vibes. Like, I feel like I witnessed greatness right before. And that's how I felt with every video dude that I interacted with during my videography phase, I guess is what you want to call that. Put the boom mic in. I even used his equipment. Like I went there with my equipment, and they were like, we got better equipment and we can get you what you need before you go home. So we got the fucking shit on my SD card. And like I said, at the time, I didn't know shit about like uploading footage, transferring footage, WAV files, MP3 files. All I knew was give me the MP3. I didn't even want the WAV, bro. I was like, give me the MP3, because I don't know what WAV is. I didn't know shit about any of that. I remember one time I was talking about how like my space won't go away on my MacBook, and they were like, have you emptied your trash can when plugging in your SD card? Oh, it was my SD card that was building up. And I was like, yeah, I deleted it, but for some reason it never went away. And they're like, yeah, you got to throw the trash out in your fucking MacBook and then take your SD card out. You got to like empty your trash. I was like, see, I had a feeling that was the reason, but I was like, there's no fucking way, right? And there was a fucking way, right? So there was, oh man, that was like year one. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm doing this bitch though. And now I'm scared as fuck to do it, because I feel like I let the expectations drop. But people still want to fuck with me, so I guess that's cool. I'm just terrified that I'm not going to do it as good as, I'm not going to have that same, I think that I have more responsibility to do better now. So I guess that's what that is. So I'm scared to fuck up because I should be a pro. I should be like a natural at what I do, and I'm just scared to fucking do it again. Honest to God, that's like, it scares the fuck out of me to do an interview right now because I'm like, oh, man, do I still got it type shit. But it's like I've always had it. So yeah, interviews. So when I did my second one, I had 10 times better equipment, and I think that got me horny because then my third interview was with the lavalier mic into a Zoom meeting, and it was supposed to be like a whole, like I was supposed to have a whole production dedicated to it. I got COVID. I had got COVID on my way. I went to Cali, got tested again, COVID again, and I was like, that's some whack ass shit if you ask me, bruh. Still did the interview. It's still up. Sweezy Productions, Tati, Wood Morning interviews. There's two, part 1 and part 2. And then fourth interview. This is when I went back to Cali. I think before I left, no, I had went back home and then came back to fucking Cali. Did an interview with Eli, Cali, and Jay Million. I wish I got better content out of it, but I felt like I was in such a time constraint, and I felt a little out of my element, and I had no fucking clue how to use my audio interface yet. So all I did was make sure that one of those mics were working. I was like, okay, if one of them working, they're all working. Fuck it. I never got them all to like tap on their shit, or, you know, I never like recorded individual tracks, bro. I just threw a fucking file onto Adobe, used that shit, and I was like, I got clear fucking audio. 2 of the mics are fucking dead. Luckily this mic wasn't a directional mic. It was the one that catches that shit from like all over. So it got a little bit of these 2, but got this guy the most. So this dude's mic would like spike, and then this dude's mic would like, it was like to compensate for this side. So still having issues with that, but I knew that after that I was like, that motherfucker's gonna spit out 4 tracks every single time I record, and that 4th track, if I have 3, that 4th track's just gonna be silent. Fuck it. That was the day I was like, multi-track, nigga. 5th interview. It's always the 5th. I wish that I did I wish I swapped my 4th and my 5th, because it would have been like my 5th interview with the 5th level music group, bro. Like, oh, missed opportunities. Anyway, but I loved who I interviewed, and I loved how it all happened. It was a natural thing, and I just let it happen. No forcing. It just, I was so underqualified for the equipment that I was using but I didn't give a single fuck. I had a Blackmagic as my Sony camera recording in the background. I had an iPhone, which my boy Chad was like, you can record off the iPhone and then use that as TikToks, and I didn't even fucking see the vision there. Mad as hell at myself for that, like a motherfucker. I didn't even understand how to repurpose content, bro. I didn't even think of it. And now there's like so many different ways of it, and it's insane. But I had my Blackmagic. I had some dome lights on them. I had a backdrop, and then I had 2 fucking booms because I had 3 people talking. So audio, for once in my life, was not a fucking problem because I knew I had 2 audio tracks that are solid no matter fucking what. Why? Because I had help. And I think that that's where it goes. I had like help. I had assistance, not assistant. I had assistance. So I was literally like just having somebody who understood the equipment do it for you so you can go focus on this thing over here. Oh my God. Something that I crave, but something that I've always been scared to create because that I have these moments where people can't fucking stand me and I can't stand people. So I'm so in between right now. It's insane, but people are probably like, "Oh yeah, he does shit." I hate that right now, but I just kind of got silent for a little bit, and I think that's okay. I think, like I said before, I think everybody's in their career has had that moment when they were like, I can't do shit. I'm fucking suck at all of this. I'm just not gonna do it anymore. And for me, I had a lot of those moments, but the job that I worked also provided me with opportunities that I didn't have to focus on it just being me. I had the help. It was already paid, and I just had to switch. So like, even though I wasn't doing it for myself anymore, I still picked up a lot of fundamentals and a lot of skill. And went through a lot of trial and fucking error. About a good, I'd say, 9 times, and even in the past 2 months, and 9 times at least in the past 2 months. Even on like with the software and shit like that, like bro, I'm telling you, like nesting sequences on Premiere Pro has become my best friend. And I never knew of the power of it until I understood how to redistribute content, and then the rest was history. So yeah, I would say that honestly, I have a few strengths. Knowing how to operate a switcher, knowing how to operate audio. I may not be skilled at mixing it and making it sound professional, but I know people who can. So I can just like, I can get the post production team what they need and fulfill the needs of production. So that's why I think of myself as a producer, where I'm like, I can put you guys in good situations and get you guys what you need. But can I teach you? Can I tell you how to use it? No, that's not my job. That's what a director's for. The director is gonna sit here and tell you what to do, guide your vision. Shit, sometimes I feel like I need the director because my creativity. See, but here we go with the fucking fake boner moose knuckle dog. Oh man, like that's the thing about this fucking chair, bro. Like you sink in this shit. Like you're like oh I'm good, and then fucking you're like this by the end of the show, bro. Like it's insane. Um. Oh yeah, no, that's how the moose knuckle fucking pops up. I get higher. Well, not with this, but all right. Real smoke break now. What time is it? That's not a bad time. I'm actually pretty on schedule today. And then I learned how to color correct. Like professionally, like not color grade. Color grading is like what I will never like tell you the world that I'm good at, because then like the test will come and I'm gonna fail that bitch miserably. I know how to color correct log footage though, basically, like the most basic way possible. And I use DaVinci Resolve. Like I will go the extra mile. I will use DaVinci Resolve, export the entire 2-hour video in out of DaVinci Resolve into a Premiere Pro timeline, because I still haven't figured out how to get my my DaVinci Resolve timeline converted to a Premiere opened on Premiere with the same color. Like I have all my color settings applied on Premiere Pro. I've never been able to do that. What's the word I'm looking for? Comfortably, I guess. I think I tried it once or twice because I it was a part of my workflow for working. So I had to learn how to color correct on DaVinci. Like I didn't want to use Premiere Pro to color correct because I'm like, bro, I have to relearn color correcting with this application. That's stupid. I ended up fucking doing it anyways. I hate it. Like it just for some reason it's the interface. Like it's like, why is this thing a fucking sidebar for one? I don't know. I just like in DaVinci, there's this one thing that I like, and I know you can do these same things in Premiere Pro. My dumbass just doesn't know how to, but you could literally like change the RGB channel. So if I want to change the brightness for this image, but for the reds, like these reds are too bright, I can literally drop down the reds, and I don't have to go down to my curves to do it. I have that option, but it's the first thing that I see because it's like one of the more important things. Like I think that DaVinci did what Apple did with color correction, and then they simplified it, but they also emphasized in it. So they kind of had to, be good at it. Or Premiere Pro would have just, and Final Cut would have just swallowed them up along with Avid, which, like I said, you can do this in all those applications. I just prefer DaVinci. Also, I use Blackmagic. So DaVinci was, well, no, fuck that. I was using DaVinci before I even got to the job that I work at. Because before I got to the job that I work at, Black Magics were not a thing. I did not even know they existed. I think I like looked one up once or twice, and I was like, yeah, in my dreams. And then my job that I was working at, that I just got hired to, had 4 of them, and I was like, what the fuck, nigga? How did I get here? Like, what did Offset say? How did I get here? Like, what? I don't even know what I'm doing here. What the fuck? So I had to get my hands on those things a few times. Got some podcasts and got some interviews out of them. So that's cool. Thank you, VizCap. But I think I lost my fucking point. So just being because I didn't start off with Blackmagics. I started off with my Sony, and I remember it was like learning color correction, and then I think the homie Gage was like, "Dude, you should just get a laptop and get DaVinci. It's free." And I was like, "Oh." And then that's when I met the homie Gage, and I was like, "Yo, this dude's fucking awesome." Like, that is what I loved about doing interviews and shit like that. Is that like the more people you met, because then they knew people who knew people who knew people, and then you're getting linked in with all these new people who do what you do, and there's people who are really good at it, and then there's you, and you're just climbing to get there, and like those connections are like really important. But yeah, so he told me about DaVinci, and then that's when I understood that color. I just didn't get the point of it. This is a time where I didn't know what B-roll was. Reminder. This was a time when I was like, yeah, I'm just doing this shit to do it, bro. Like, I got the equipment, and I'm just out here filming shit, and I don't even know what I'm filming. Like, I don't know what my story. I don't even know what I'm doing it for. I'm just kind of doing it because I feel like I can, and I feel like that's the way for me to tell art. Like that's the way for me to be an artist, because I'm not good at, like, I could rap, I could freestyle, but would I consider myself like a rapper? In my dreams, absolutely. But like in reality, I haven't put that work in over there. And really all I've ever put that work in with was doing what I'm kind of doing right now, having these rants about, like, I want to say myself, but a majority of the time, who the fuck else is going to talk about me if I'm not the one doing it? I'm just kidding. I don't know what that comes off as. I hope it's arrogant. No, but for real, when I first started doing it, I was like, yo, dog, like, this shit is, I had a whole vision for it, and all, like, they said the same thing over and over again, just don't stop. Just don't. They all did it. They're like, yeah, just keep doing it, just don't stop. I was like, bro, what the fuck? I'm not gonna stop. Boy, did I stop for like an entire year and a half, bro. I was just like, I remember when I did the last one, it felt so chaotic in post-production because I had to focus on my brand new job and this brand new interview I have to edit. I didn't know how to go about it. And I had like I said, so much vision, but didn't have, in my eyes, the crew when I was just starting to meet them. Because at this job, it's full of editors and creative people. So, yeah, like, it kind of like color correction. I learned that a majority at VizCap because I was DIT. I had to make sure that the log footage didn't get to the editors that way, because that's hefty ass footage that you have to compress and then get to a good enough file size and keep the quality the same. So my job was to basically get it, make it look good, send it off in a smaller file size so that they could download it faster. And then that's what taught me how to that's really what, like, my color correction was like. When I first got there, I didn't even know how to use a fucking LUT, bro. Like, I still barely know how to use a LUT because I do it manually. Like, the look that I want to see is the look that I create. So, like, if it needs to be like this warm golden vibe, then I can play with the temperature and play with the reds and the blues and shit and the gamma, get the shadows right. But then if it has to be colder or like blue, like that orange blue thing, like you could kind of create your own look. And really it's how filters are kind of created. It's like preset settings, and you burn them into. You can either burn them into your film or not. It's kind of up to you. But they call them lookup. It's short for lookup tables or lookup, or like look. I think it's lookup tables or something. It's either logic, algorithm, arithmetic, something around the lines of that. It uses something to change the image of your look, and LUTs are like kind of universal. So like I could apply a LUT that I made in Premiere Pro on a DaVinci Resolve video, OBS, like I did previously one of my other live streams, and then I could also use that LUT when I'm recording. So LUTs are like universal color settings, filter. Literally, it's a filter. And then, like I said, I didn't even know shit about that before I got into any of this. Like I just had my iPad, and I swear to God, I did not know us. All I knew at the time was cuts, text on screen, transitions, and they were all bullshit. And like there's so much more to that alone. But all I knew at the time was that minor shit, and like exporting and having enough storage on the device that you're exporting on to do it. And then time goes fucking on, and you get put in scenarios where you're like, huh, wish I knew that before. And then now you know. The best feeling is when you go to a shoot in LA and you're 2 hours from it and there's traffic just to forget your SD card on the set, and there's no SD way to get an SD card anywhere. That day there was two things I told myself. Michael, never forget your fucking SD card. 2, Michael, when you're in the scenario to own something like this, you better have 1,000 SD cards of many sorts in the fucking location. Because if this is like a film set, bro, like this is where people who shoot film, I'm going to make sure you niggas have at least the basics. And you need an SD card, brother? We got you an SD card. You're going to have to like either buy, if you want to keep it, you could buy it, or you could use it to shoot and then dump your media on your computer and go home with it. You know, we can get it to you on a Google Drive or something. You know what I mean? I would have those options if I owned a studio like that. I was sick to my stomach when they told me that there's a CVS about 15 minutes away. I was like, bruh. I was like, nigga, you niggas could have been my set. I was going up to strangers who were in the middle of a set. Bro, do you have an SD card, bro? They're like, I mean, I might, but I don't know if I can give it to you, bro. It might still have shit on there. I was like, I just need it for an hour, dog. I'm losing money as we speak, bro. I just booked this bitch and I don't even have my SD. Like, that's when 2 people would have been important, because either they would have reminded me to bring it, or they would have did something while I got it, or they would have gone and got it while I fucking shot. Like, bro, it would have been really helpful that day. So those were the things that I told myself after like those type of that lesson. I was like, the day I own, I am going to make sure that I have a little bit of everything my client might need. Cause all they really had were like lights and shit. So I was like, how can I give them best? How can I give my client, my guest, the best experience possible? Like, I want them to feel like they left Disney World, bro. Like, I want them to be like, bro, this shit was flawless. And like I said, it's not gonna be like that every single time, but it won't be our fault. It will not be our fault if you did not have a great time. Something, incident had to have came between you and the good time. So there's the good time. We always supply it. We always give it. But if you don't reach that destination, shit, brother, sister, I'm not gonna tell you. That's your bad. You can ask the other 900 guests. They said we loved it there. For some reason, you said you didn't. So here's what we'll do: we'll give you 25% off of your next booking. Right. And then we'll throw in, I don't even know what to throw in at that point. Whatever, like, you know, I'll throw in like a little stipulation, make you feel special. Because, like I said, like, it is going to be the goal to create the ultimate, the best experience possible when you come to my wherever the fuck warehouse set. Like, I want you to have the best experience possible. That's always been like hotel service type shit, you know, like bellboys at the door and waiting for you. I'm capping. I won't have bellboys. I will have security guards with guns. You test my motherfuckers, they will shoot you, my boy. That's like I said, that's always kind of been like my main vision, is like owning a building where people can come and do creative things. Basically it. And I have to make money off of that, right? Like I can't just expect it to be like, oh, yep, this is for the community. Obviously, it's for the community that it's currently located in, but a motherfucker still needs to make a living, and I want to be able to make a living off of that investment, right? So I'm gonna do all the marketing tactic strategies that I need to do to put myself ahead of the competition, and along the way, that is gonna lose a lot of fans. So I'm aware of that, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Unfortunately, you can't please everybody. So I am going to make it that I'm going to make sure that I fuck anybody in the game who stands in my way. I'm gonna fuck them. In their way, I'm gonna fuck them right in the ass. Like, give me that fucking shit. Yeah, because I'm a soft guy, right? I really don't like to fight physically, but when it's time to play the cards, I like to play the cards knowing that I can't get touched. So like, I know you ain't gonna beat my ass over a contract negotiation, or because I'm doing better than you, like with sales and shit like that. You know what I mean? Windows Mac type shit. Like I am going to fucking fuck you. I'm gonna bully the shit out of you too. I'm going to run you through this bitch because that's the only place where I feel like it's allowed to happen. Like when you watching the UFC fight, it's competition at the end of the day. You got to fuck that person up. You can't not have a competitive mindset for that hour. You got to fuck that person up. If you think to yourself, oh, I'll be nice. Mink. Mika, maka, muka, muka, mika. Oh, everyone's going crazy. Nigga, you just got knocked out trying to be nice. That is the mentality that I have. I'm like, don't trust a single soul in this motherfucker. We're all in it for the same purpose, money. So everyone's looking out for themselves at the end of the day, making it seem like they're looking out for you, making it seem like they're looking out for you when it's no, fuck all that shit. We got us, y'all got y'all, and let's find some common ground so that we can make a little bit of money off of this investment that we could potentially increase our profits from by working together. So, yeah, this shit is, I want to treat it like that. I want to be the bully because I don't want to, and I won't try, like, it's not about abusing this shit. It's more like, I think that's the main place where I could confidently stand my ground. So, no room for naiveness in that bitch. Warren? Nope. Hearing things. Y'all just see somebody blast through my fucking window. Yeah, man. I just want to be able to own my shit, bro. Like anybody who gets in the way of that, I gotta get there. I gotta get there. So I want to own that shit, and then like I've always had the vision of what I wanted to do with it too. So I guess that's kind of always been set in stone. Yeah. It's crazy. I guess this was really just more of like a quick dump about where I was, where I'm going, but where I'm currently at. My experience gives me faith in where I'm going, but my financial status and my car status, I'm like, damn, I wish we was all just walking everywhere again. These car problems is just the only real thing that's fucking me up is my car. And I think that's the one thing that points out my irresponsibility, my responsibility, like the lack of. That shit's fucking annoying, but it is what it is. Man, I want to be able to hire a crew of people who love what they do. And even if and it's okay to not love what you do. Nigga, like, I don't want to be like, you better love this shit. And if you don't, you're fired. It got to be more like, look, I just want you to be here. You know, I want you to want to be here. And if you don't feel like this is a place where you can be here, I don't think I'm going to get the best out of you. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want to be here every day, if you don't get excited, no one gets excited for work, right? That's obvious. You're never going to be excited about hard work that you have to do because the pressure is always going to creep up on you. So I feel like I'm having an Andrew Tate conversation. Gross. Anyway, you kind of just want to provide a working environment where people get along and do have like an aligned vision on what we want to do. And obviously, you're going to have a lot of uncomfortable conversations because people aren't going to be performing, or people want to quit, or people want to raise, and you simply can't afford to give them one. Things like that are going to come and go. All those things are going to happen, but I just don't want people to say that I have a toxic working environment. I want people to say that this shit's annoying sometimes, but fuck it. They have good benefits. Like, I want to be able to fit into that degree, but stand out with, like, culture, you know? And I'm not trying to have, like, oh, you got to be this type of person to get in here. You just kind of have to come in here and get your shit done and want to be here. Nobody wants to be at Walmart. Nobody wants to be at Amazon. But shit, the benefits are good enough for them to want to be there. No, I'm capping. Like, I don't want a physically demanding job like that, but those physically demanding jobs are physically demanding because they make a lot of money. And without that physical demand, you don't make a lot of money, right? So to be able to say people are going to want to work every day is nuts. But it's like, film sets. Think about an actor. Like, do you think that they love the hardships of the acting during those hardships? Like the moment of? No, that shit's fucking annoying. It's frustrating and annoying. You hate it in that moment, especially when you can't do something. But then you do it. And then you accomplish that. And then you're done with it. And then you remember how much you love it. I want to create shit like that. I don't want people to fear deadlines, but not because you think you're going to get fired, but because you don't want to miss the deadline because you want to make sure this shit gets in on time because it's your part and you care about it, kind of, right? Like school. If you didn't do your part, you were just letting the rest of your team down. So in the little school projects that they would have, or those team projects, what is the text? So yeah, that's how I see it. I want to create those environments with this little camera, microphone, shindig, VR, all that good stuff, technology and media and entertainment, sort of. I feel like I'm losing. Oh. Wow, this whole time I'm like talking into the side of the mic, kind of. I just want to focus on learning what I need to learn so that when I have these things, I understand enough of all these things so that people can't fuck me over. It's gonna happen and it's not, but yeah. Kind of always been the vision there. So, what I do know is that if I don't know how to I don't know, man. I don't know shit. And I think that experience is your best friend. What I've learned in the past 5 years is that the more opportunities you take, the less uncomfortable they become. The less opportunities you take, the more uncomfortable they become. And it's very easy to fear something you've never done. But goddamn, when you do it, it feels fucking great. So if we think about it, we're kind of scared to chase those great moments, those accomplishing moments, those moments of relief. Because sometimes the stress and the pressure is so tight and tense, it is hard to see that finish line. it is hard to even believe it's there. So test your perseverance, push yourself, and don't be afraid to step out of the comfort zone. Look for fear in a good way, please. Because obviously there's the fear of stealing shit and getting caught, doing bad shit. But more like, ask that girl out on a date. Don't be afraid to stand up to people. Do not be afraid to tell your parents how you feel. Don't be afraid to tell anybody how you feel. Call her back, bro. I'm just kidding. One of those. But for real though. Just don't be afraid to chase this shit, bro. Nike, I still can't believe Nike came up with the best quote possible. Just do that shit, bro. Like, for real. Just go after it. You do not have a single clue in what a year can do for you by just focusing on that, whatever the fuck. You want to be a porn star? Well, god damn it, go try to be a porn star for a year, and then in a year you'll have a year more of experience than you did the previous one. Point is that just give yourself like a year of it. Give it a fucking year, and then ask yourself by the end of that year, how far did I come? Was it 3 feet? 4? I'm just kidding. God damn. How far did I progress though? How far did I go from point A to point B? What do I know now that I didn't know fucking then? Those are the best questions to like ask yourself and kind of give yourself some more confidence and more of a boost. Is what the fuck do I know now that I did not know last year? And like, if you think about 5 or 6 off the top of your head, then there's plenty more to think of. And if it's just one thing, that's a great thing. But imagine if it was like multiple things too, because the more you got into whatever the fuck, the more you found out that there's more whatever the fucks in this whatever the fuck. So, the deeper you dive, the more you find. So don't be afraid to look for shit. That'll be the quote. The deeper you dive, the more you find. Do not be afraid to look for shit. Something that I'm also grateful for to end this podcast. I got to hang out with family all weekend long. I got to see my mama, my brother, and my sister. All of them. My sisters, my brothers, my niece, my other nieces, my nephews. One on Juanita, Jennifer. I got to see all the family. Rebecca, Sarah. When I'm in these moments of depression, those are the hardest things to do. But at the same time, it kind of makes things better, because then like you get to see people you genuinely love, and it just kind of gives you this feeling that you don't get a lot. And it's like all you could really do is just say how grateful you are for it, because damn, I'm just glad I made the decision to move to Las Vegas, because I think I've done a lot of great things for myself. And I'm so fucking glad I got to spend time with some family today. That shit felt like it's what I needed, I guess. I don't know. But it was good seeing everybody today. So yeah. That's what I'm grateful for. Having family and being able to see them today. So yeah. I think that'll wrap up the podcast. I ended up with the quote. Don't don't be afraid. The deeper you dive, the more you find. Don't be afraid to find shit. So yeah. Thank you for tuning in to the 8th episode. Man, I have done 8 episodes. That's 7. It's supposed to be 9. So that's 8. About 9 weeks of trying to do it, but 8 out of 9 weeks I've actually accomplished a podcast, which I'm not mad at. Last year I did 12. Reminder. I think I got all the way to like June or July, and I was like, I done enough, and then I stopped doing it again. So yeah, this time around I'm still focused on coding. Gonna give myself a year of that, see how far I get. I've had a lot more progress than I did last year, I'll say that much. Yeah, so time to go chase these mountains. Climb these mountains and dig out of these and cover up these potholes with actual proper equipment instead of just like sand or some shit for the time being. So yeah, time to go take care of life. So I'll see y'all next Sunday. And for anybody who is for some reason watching the end of this episode, call yourself a fan. because you fuck with me and you know it. So just hit the subscribe button like a real one. My nigga, like, come on now, don't play me. You literally watched this shit this far in. That deserves a subscription. And if you did it, leave it in my comments and then DM me on Instagram at Sweezy. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, but I'm probably gonna send you one of these. I'm gonna clip this and say, love you. Love you, big bro. And if you're a girl, love you, big bro. But yeah, I'm out this motherfucker. Thank y'all.